such good coffee today. It's extra good.
Oh, thank you.
I played some Eve last night, and I'm pretty sure somebody watching the stream was trying to hunt me.
Yeah.
Just goes to show you why you can't stream Eve.
Was someone following you, or?
Yeah, I felt like it. I felt distinctly like there were at least a couple of people that were looking for me.
Just hovering in odd spaces and shit.
Popping into places where there's nobody else and hanging around and showing up in the next place I go to. And
Yeah.
is it gonna rain? Yeah, when it does, this is over. So it could open up any second.
Now it's just dribbling.
Yep. It's like a real pathetic, pissy dribble right now, but it decides to rain. I asked you to do vape tricks one time and you seemed disappointed. Yeah. Because vape tricks are lame. Don't you remember me sitting and watching the fucking vape championships or whatever on one of these? Watch these dudes just blowing giant lung-filling clouds of bubblicious grape all over like a convention center or whatever. I can't imagine like being somebody who manages one of those big convention centers and then like having a vape festival come through and cover everything in like sticky residue, because you know that's what happens.
Yeah. When they're just blowing it all over shit.
If you're one person and you're like vaping in your house, you're probably not going to get a bunch of sticky residue all over everything. But if you had like 100 people in your house just slamming their vapes, let alone like 10,000 or 20,000 like they do at some of these big festivals and shit, dude, every surface in that place is going to be covered with like cherry root beer flavored exhalations from everybody else. Holy shit, bro. Fucking gross. Vapors ruin photos too. I did photos for a wedding and all the groomsmen were vaping. The groomsmen were vaping like during the wedding, like sneaking like, you can't wait until like after the wedding ceremony to sneak a vape. You gonna get Elden Ring? Probably not. Probably not. I've been looking at like some reviews of it and stuff. Not necessarily for the review, because I know that all like 99% of the reviews are going to be like, oh my fucking god, game of the year, it's Elden Ring. But it just doesn't look fun to me.
The strange kind of review I think is really helpful is like accessibility reviews, because then it tells you if you can like read the text from far away and shit.
Yeah.
Like those little nuances that most people don't think of. It's like, it's a pain in the ass to see the screen. It's like, well, that's very helpful.
Yep. Thank you for that. That could impact my enjoyment of the game significantly. No, it looks like it's fine. Like, it looks like it's designed well. It just doesn't look interesting. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Souls setting, and it's just more of that. Fun game stream last night, yeah. It's pretty chill. Pretty chill.
Except for the leeches.
The leeches.
The followers.
Oh, the people coming. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if there's actually anybody following me. Eve is one of those games where it actually pays to be a paranoid fuck.
Yeah.
Like me. You guys saw me, dude. Everybody in local when I'm in 0-0 is like coming for me. I still haven't even played Skyrim. I think At this point, maybe you won't.
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's like a 10-year plus old game. If it's not for you, it's probably not for you.
I'm just Magic is a little iffy of an idea to me. Period.
You don't like Magic in video games.
I like bonky bonk, shooty shoot.
You do Magic in that game though.
Not.
You put fire. You set your axe on fire.
I know, but like then I started just doing like weapon becomes fire, so it's not even an ability. But
yeah, but nobody can hit you with a sword and set you on fire without magic.
I guess that's true.
Without magic or a bunch of like butane, like lighter fluid drenching the blade or something. You don't have to do magic in Skyrim. You can be a bonker. That's how I play. I don't play with magic. I play shooty shoot, arrow, and sneak. Yeah. So I get them juicy sneak attack crits. Mm-hmm. I think you probably would like it, but I don't push games on people. Yeah. Like knowing how much you enjoyed New Vegas and how you liked going to all the little quest areas and discovering all the little NPCs and little side things, and that's Skyrim.
Yeah, maybe so. One of these days. I guess they can see Cricket, but see him being pathetic.
Cricket, why? Why you do this? Why are you such a sad kitty? Please let me out. Please let me out. Please open this window and let me out. No, Cricket. You can't come out here. I want to break free. I want to break free. Save you. I want to break free.
I don't get a chance to see him very often.
No. He's got a good little spot now where he sits out here when we sit out here. He sits in the windowsill with us. Oh, wait. We might have just showed your phone number. Whoops. Hope you don't get any phone calls. Yeah. Cricket, why you show your mom's phone number? Why don't you wear your mom's phone number around your neck? I'm looking forward to the New Vegas sequel. I didn't even know that there was a New Vegas sequel coming out.
It sounds like one of those unsubstantiated rumors.
Yeah.
Gaming is full of...
I don't know, maybe they're doing it. Microsoft owns both Bethesda and Obsidian now. Damn. Means we could get an Elder Scrolls Fallout crossover. You go through like a Chaos Gate in the Elder Scrolls and all of a sudden you're in the wasteland. Gather all around. I'll tell you a story about a guy named Butcher Pete. Like, what? Fus Roda. That's the rumor behind Starfield, that it's all one universe. Oh boy. Can't wait for GTA. It's going to have USA, Europe, and some kind of Hispanic country, maybe Mexico. Oh, GTA 6. Yeah. That's a big one. Like, I could almost get excited about the new GTA, but I also know that I'm not going to be able to play it unless I have a PS8 or whatever the new one is. PS5. Mm-hmm. And I'm not buying a PS5. I've gotten burned by PlayStation too many times. The only PlayStation console that I've ever bought that I didn't feel burned by was the PS1. The PS2, I feel burned by that because I saved up my money and waited. And then, like, I don't know, 6 months after I bought mine, they came out with the PS2 Slim. PS3, same thing.
PS4, same thing.
PS4, same thing. Like, I've gotten burned by PlayStation every time I've bought a console. Within a year of me buying the console, they come out with a better version of the console that doesn't have overheating issues or is faster or smaller, more compact, not as loud, doesn't have fan issues. I've had all of that. I'm done with PlayStation.
You think we're gonna get the Xbox if we get another console?
If I was super interested in getting a mainstream console, I would probably get an Xbox.
Yeah.
Or just, fully jump into the Switch that we have. Like, I just will not. And I had problems with the Xboxes too. Like the Xbox 360, I had a Red Ring of Death 360, which was a huge issue, like a huge recall issue. I had to send my 360 in and have it replaced, which was like 2 or 3 weeks of not being able to play my games. And it was just, fuck that. And games did you play on PS1? Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters, Metal Gear Solid, like all the good stuff. Cool Borders. Yeah, PS1 was like a brick. It was a really simply made, sturdily made console. I bet if I still had my OG original PS1 and plugged it in, it would boot right up. But then that has not been true for any console that came after it. Yeah, So I got I have read that Xboxes are way more like sturdy and reliable now. Like the like newer Xboxes or whatever are not like a bunch of like a big problematic console or whatever, but still. I feel like the same thing. Xbox does the same thing that PlayStation does. Like coming out with a new model or whatever. I just don't want to do that. Yeah, that's the problem. Like PC games are great, but if you don't like I have a PC from 5 years ago that still works. That's probably the only reason that I'm still into PC gaming. Like if I had to buy a brand new PC gaming computer right now, I would probably take a look at the price that it would take for me to get like a mid-range PC and shit my pants.
I got the good gaming laptop. It just has like no storage.
Yeah, it just needs an external hard drive.
Yeah, that's how you get it cheap. Is just like you basically get no storage, but
I don't even know if you can get it cheap. I mean, we lucked out getting your.
Yeah.
I think we got a pretty good deal on your laptop. Yeah. I don't know if we could get that same deal today. Probably not.
It was an emergency laptop.
Oh. And that's just ridiculous, man. The fact that you can't even get into a gaming PC for less than like $1,500, $2,000. If you really want to get one that's like future proof, that's going to play everything for a few years. Because I'm already like, they've already like reduced the amount of complexity graphically that they're adding to games because they know people don't have the budget to buy a new graphics card every time a new game comes out. And so I'm already probably near the end of where my PC is reasonably able to play everything. I've already bumped into a couple of games where I had to crank the graphics down to medium and shit. So it's already getting to that point where, it's obviously these game manufacturers. If I want to experience the game in its full glory or whatever, I got to buy a new PC. And I'm just not going to do it. I just refuse, man.
Not until it keels over and dies.
I never had a problem with it before. Yeah. Back in the day, because people used to bitch about how PC gaming is more expensive. It kind of is, but back in the day, only if you didn't build it yourself.
If you just picked some standard thing off the shelf
right.
or whatever.
Or you went to one of these websites that like pre-makes computers and packages them and sells them, you're going to pay out the ass. But if you were willing to go through the process of ordering the stuff individually, and then when it gets to your house, you build it. Then you save hundreds and hundreds of dollars like that, right? And so you would take something that would have cost you $1,000, which is way more than $400 for a PS4, but you paid $500 for it, and now you're in a PC. I was fine with that. That seemed fine. But now that it's just like utterly absurdly $2,000 for a fucking PC, I'm not. The chances of me owning like a PC that can play like everything on max settings ever again pretty much diminished to nothing. Like, I'm priced out of it. I can't in good conscience look and pay that much for a fucking PC.
Yeah, you just get screwed either way.
Yeah. And like consoles are doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get the PS5. And then I guarantee you, dude, if I were to go like, all right, fucking I break down, I'm gonna buy one of these expensive ass fucking $650 PS5s. 6 months to a year from the purchase date, the PS5 Slim would come out, fixing all the PS5's problems and adding a bunch of storage space, adding a larger SSD, a faster SSD. And I'm gonna be sitting there playing on a brick, and then you end up with shit like what I've got with the PS4, where you can literally buy games for it that it can't play.
Yeah. Which was weird because it was an older game that was remastered. That one Final Fantasy game.
It was fun. Well, that's not. It's the new. That's the newest Final Fantasy.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But it's years old now.
Yeah.
It's come out. I mean, it's the newest single player Final Fantasy game.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't a remaster.
Yeah, but it's years old now, and I bought it on PS4 because I liked it on PC, and I thought it would be cool to have, sitting in front of my PS4, literally unplayable. Because I don't have a PS4 Pro. It doesn't say that. Doesn't give you a warning like, hey, this game is like literally unplayable unless you've got a PS4 Pro. Let me buy it. It's unplayable. Like you boot it up and like it's 10 frames a second. Garbage.
When we got Outer Worlds, when they added the DLC, it literally didn't have enough storage to have enough save space to play with the DLC.
We had to go delete other games off of it to install the DLC.
And then even then, it started buffering like crazy once you finished the DLC, and you basically couldn't go to the end game. You had to fly into the sun, or you just wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's like I've got a console where if you buy, like, they're selling games for it that are literally unplayable, not just like buggy or a little slow, literally unplayable. Like, why would you do that? Why would you especially like if the PS5 was like $350? Okay, all right, you banged me out of $350. $700? You want me to pay $700 for something that you're going to replace with a better version of it in literal months from now? That'll eventually not even play the games that are supposed to be for that system? These like 1.5 upgrades that they do to their systems, where they basically like make half of their library unplayable on the older one, but they still call it a PS4 game or whatever. Dude, that's the work of all time right there. Dude, I'm extra salty about that, man. I bought that PS4 at a time where I didn't have a lot of money. It was like I had to decide. You know what I mean? Like, we've got enough to have. I've got enough to buy one console, so that I can have something that I can play some video games on. I'm gonna get a PlayStation.
Yeah, and they still have that drift thing on PlayStation controllers.
Oh, the controller drift thing. Yeah. That type of shit doesn't bother me because I'm not like an MLG gamer. A little bit of drift on the controller is not the end of the world for me because I'm not like Mr. Precision or whatever. But there's some games I guess it could be a big problem.
Yeah, it fucked me up when I first started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey because I was just not used to the third person at all, and then the drift on top of it. I was like playing upside down and shit, basically.
Yeah, it took you a while to get used to that. Now you're a pro though.
Yeah.
And you have no idea how many games that unlocks for you too. Like being able, like knowing now how fundamentally to control a camera in a third person game just basically unlocks the world for you. So once you're done picking the tiny little nuggets of sinew off of the bone of that game, you'll be able to move on to any number of other types of games like that.
That's kind of how I play. I suck real hard in the very beginning, and then just through sheer persistence, I end up better than you.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, like we're very different gamers. Like I like maybe get infatuated with a game, but you get like you get to the point where like you want to do everything in the game. Like you're a completionist. And even like a multi-completionist. Like for you, starting up a new save file is no thing. Playing through the game again. Like if you really enjoyed it, you're willing to just kind of spend a lot more time with it, I think, than I'm usually willing to spend with a game.
Yeah, that and like you have a higher baseline skill level, so like I'll fucking fall flat on my ass for like the first 20 hours of the game.
I think honestly though that probably it plays into the reason why you stick with things so long, because you have like a much more pleasing arc.
Yeah.
Whereas I can sit down in front of a third person game and play it at a base level competence because I've played a million games like that. But if you can learn how to play a whole game system that you've never played before, and then by the end of it you're kicking ass, it's a pleasing thing. You know what I mean? I don't really have that journey with games anymore.
It's like with Hades too.
Yeah.
Fell on my ass.
Yeah, you started playing that and you were playing with keyboard and mouse, and I kept telling you like, you can borrow my controller if you want. You ended up fucking destroying that game with keyboard and mouse. I sucked really bad at first person shooters for a while. It took me a year to get good. Now I feel pretty confident in any shooter. Kind of ruined the fun in a way. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Amelia's like I'd say she's very much like a casual video game person. She's not like a hardcore gamer, but she likes to play one game. I don't think I've ever seen her like jump between games. When she's playing a game, she's playing that game. And by playing that game, it means she's learning every little thing about it. And she's learning all of the systems of the game, like all of the little background systems that let you tweak your character and stuff. And, you know, in about 3 months, you're going to look over her shoulder as she's playing and she's going to be just destroying everything in sight. This is the way it works. Did you ever do the GoldenEye parties back in the day? Yeah, dude, 4-player GoldenEye split screen was like, that's a classic gaming experience that I weep that people that like video games don't get to have today, because there was nothing like that ever, and this is before or since, in my opinion.
Yeah, like most of the like multi-split screens are like fucking Mario Kart or some shit now.
I played a lot of Mario Karts and a lot of Mario Party and stuff, and dude, GoldenEye was a whole different experience. It was just a whole different experience. It was just completely unique. Just like so addictive. Like playing a match felt so good. Even if you lost it, you just wanted to jump right back in. Blah blah blah. The trash talk and the just being in the room with your buddies while you're playing, rather than, you know, playing online with a random stranger. It's just like nothing like it, man. It's good shit. My favorite console of mine was the Pulse Station Salt 60. Good one. My favorite console, probably the Sega Genesis, I would say. It was the first like console I had as like an adolescent. When I was like becoming a teen and into my teens and stuff, that was my console. And I really have a strong affinity for the Genesis.
I'm sure you mastered everything with it.
What I could get, you know, what games I had, I was good at, man. I beat like all of the Sonic games up through Sonic CD. I had a Sega CD that was on my Genesis, so I had all the weird attachments for my Genesis. had the Sega CD. I had the 32X. I didn't really play the 32X much. That one was a fail. But the Sega CD was my favorite shit. Played Lunar, the Silver Star on that. That was my first like non-Final Fantasy JRPG experience that I ever had, and it was really great. That's still a great game. There was a ton of these great full motion video games on the Sega CD that, like, if you look at them today, they're pretty cringe. But back in my day, it was just like, oh my god, Sewer Shark. That's such a great game. It's got the worst fucking name because it sounds like it's a turd. But Sewer Shark was great. Lunar was legit, man. It was a dream of mine to play back in the day. Yep. Yeah, were you still cool with people re-uploading clips from Highdeology? I put together a video of your views on suicide from Thanksgiving stream. But yeah, go ahead. I don't care what you do.
They have the clip function now.
Yeah, you can actually, they've added the Twitch clip function, so you can do whatever you want with my videos. I don't care. I don't pursue people for copyright and shit. You can re-upload and use it and meme it and do whatever you want with it. I've never cared. But
yeah, that would be fun, honestly. Like trying to like almost have like a contest, like the best clips or something.
Yeah, that might be fun. But yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, it's a nice thought to ask. But yeah, just in general, know that, like, I don't care what you do with my shit. Like, I'd rather you not download and re-upload my patrons only type of content and shit. But there's nothing I can do to stop you from doing that either. So,
if anything, it helps to have like little clip fucking things. What's that?
Sounds like a street sweeper. It's the government. How much do you like the meme edits of you? Like the ones where they put my head on different animes and stuff? They're alright. I haven't seen one that's like knocked my socks off yet, but some of them are pretty funny. I like the Dragon Ball Z ones. And the Attack on Titan ones or whatever.
I would say the best clips of you are that shit your britches counter. Remember that one?
Oh, the bridge shit counter, yeah. True.
That's the one that tickled you the most recently.
Yeah, that one was good. We said shit your britches a lot. Got me reminiscing about the Genesis now. But yeah, I was pretty good. I was the only one of my friends that had the Genesis. All the rest of my friends went the Nintendo route. I had an NES, and then the Genesis came out, and then the Super Nintendo came out in that order. And most people skipped the Genesis and waited for the Super Nintendo and got that. And I think you could make an argument that overall the Super Nintendo was a better console. It had more games. It had a better audio chip in it. It had a better color chip in it. So it was an upgrade over the Genesis in pretty much every conceivable way. But I liked the Genesis better. The Genesis, like, lasted a long time. The games had a lot of character. You got a lot of games that Nintendo wouldn't dip its toe into. Like, I'll give you one example. Mortal Kombat. When it came to consoles, which you guys got, you can't understand how huge that was. Mortal Kombat was like a phenomenon, right? It was back in the day when arcade games were still a thing. And like, it was a huge phenomenon. Quarter Muncher, like, they were putting Mortal Kombat cabinets in every pizza parlor in the United States, and every arcade had 10 of them. And yeah, for the Genesis version, it was gory as fuck out of the box. Or it showed you how, like there was a blood code that you could put in real easy, and it turned on all the blood, and there was no worries about it whatsoever. So, because there was a big like moral panic over Mortal Kombat. Oh my god, it's violent and it's this and it's that. You guys can imagine, right? That shit is still going on. And Mortal Kombat was this game that, like, oh my god, they're ripping heads off, they're tearing people in half, they're pulling hearts out of people's chests. What's next? Yeah, pulling your spine out. What are they going to have our children doing next? So there's this big, like, pseudo Christian Puritan moral panic over Mortal Kombat and video games in general. And so, putting that kind of blood in a console video game, whatever, people weren't good with it. But you could only get the bloody version on the Genesis. If you had the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 1, you got a crappy version. Dude, you guys got to go watch that. If we were sitting at the desk, I would watch a little compilation with you right now of the Super Nintendo Fatalities for Mortal Kombat 1. Utterly fucking trash, bro. When you hit people in Mortal Kombat 1, blood would fly out, and in the Super Nintendo version, they turned it to this blue, like, sweat. So it was like the dude was hit, like, just sweating buckets when you hit him. It was garbage, man.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like gore reduces the whole, like, violent tendency things, because it's like, if it doesn't bleed, then it's like, oh, it's just whatever. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think the violent tendencies happen, at home, in the nurture part of it, and I really don't think video games have anything to do with it, one way or the other. I grew up at a time where that was like the number one moral panic, because video games were becoming so ubiquitous, and all the kids were playing them, and oh my god, what's going on in this video game? And look at this sexual imagery, woman in a bikini, and this guy's got guns, and what's next?
They better not wokeify the new GTA. There better be some titties.
I gotta tell you, dude, that is the one thing. I don't really know how GTA can be a GTA game now.
Yeah.
The climate has gotten to the point, and I gotta be honest with you, GTA has always been woke. The whole point of GTA was to parody the absurdity of reality, and to really highlight some of the more disgusting things and vapid things about reality. It's obviously a giant satire, right? And so when something happens in GTA, like you pick up just a completely and utterly oblivious hooker, and then you can have sex with the hooker to refill your life, and then you can kill her at the end of it. Dude, if that's not a commentary on what actually happens to prostitutes, put into this game where we're all supposed to take it non-seriously, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? So this idea that GTA is somehow problematic because it has these parody versions of characters that we all know in society. You know what I mean? And it isn't afraid to talk about race. It isn't afraid to have different racial groups represented.
Yeah, I saw this one thing where it was like the cops are even racist in GTA.
Yeah, they are. Like when you're playing GTA 5, if you're playing as Hamilton or whatever the black guy's name is, the cops will say different shit to you. And they treat you differently if you bump into them. And so that type of stuff I think is cool. And I don't know how they're going to make a GTA game. I don't know how they're going to make a game where one of the fundamental principles about the world is that we have to be able to laugh at ourselves, because we're going to see somebody we know up on the screen in this GTA game. We're going to see, ourselves up there being parodied. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, if all we do is just take offense because there's a trans character in the game that isn't portrayed exactly how you would have liked it, or there's a black character in the game that has an accent that you think is stereotypical or whatever, there's no point in even trying to make one. Like, if it doesn't have that, it's not GTA. And so it's going to be interesting to see how if they're able to walk that line in 2022 or 2023, whenever that game comes out. because it seems to me the worm has turned culturally. And I really honestly don't know if there's room for a game that like GTA nowadays. If there's controversy over it, then they'll sell more. Yeah, but you gotta, there's a line to that, because if there's the wrong kind of controversy, it just, people won't fucking buy it.
They'll re-update it or whatever.
They'll be taking stuff out of it, and they'll butcher it, and the people that did like it will be pissed, and the people that didn't like it aren't gonna fucking run to it and play it. Just be, you know what I mean? It just,
because you couldn't do updates back in the day when it was controversial. Once it was, minted, it was minted. But now everyone buys it online, so they can just fucking throw an update on that you have to accept. And
yeah. You should watch Hong Kong action kung fu films in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's undiluted insanity and innovation. Start with Police Story and Dragons Forever. All right. Thanks for the donation. People buy in overwhelming numbers no matter what. I don't know, Cynic.
It's been how many years? Like 10?
It's been a lot of years. It's still a giant phenomenon, but if this game like goes out of its way to offend people like games in the past have, to trigger people's like a gag reflex and offense reflex as a part of its satirical universe, if they do it the wrong way and they hit the wrong buttons and they present people the wrong way, there could be, it could end up like being a bad thing. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not like fucking raring to go on it.
I probably won't even get to play it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna buy a fucking PS5. And so if they don't release it eventually on a PC and I can't play it on my older PC, ooh to the well, I guess. I'm not getting armbarred. Like here's the thing. If the PS5 comes down in price eventually, like you can get one for $200-300, $400 maybe max, with a couple of games, couple of controllers and shit, I'll get one. But that's my line, dude. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way I'm paying $700, $800 with controllers and games for a console. It's ridiculous. I'm at an age now where I don't, like, I'm into video games, but I'm not one of these dudes that has to play it the day it comes out. Or ever. Like, I can live with not being able to play a video game. And there are tons of old consoles and tons of ways to play that. I'd be more than happy just playing old games the rest of my life. So I'm at a point.
It's even worse now. It's $950 at Walmart for the PS5.
Is that just what is that, a package deal that comes with stuff, or is that just the base?
With just the controller and the.
That's it. You get one controller, one console for $950.
Yeah.
They're joking. They're joking.
That, or you just have to fucking wait until it's restocked by like Sony proper.
They're joking. They're taking the piss, bro. $900, $1,000. So you want me to sink over $1,000? Because if all you're getting is the console and one controller, you got to buy games. You got to buy 3 or 4 games to play on it. You got to buy another controller if you want to play games with somebody else. If you want to have a backup wireless or whatever.
Yeah, and just the single controller is
$79. Yeah. Controllers that's been a creep too. You like the branded controllers back in the day used to be $35. Mm-hmm. The Xbox controller. Perfect wired controller. I still use one. I still use an Xbox 360 wired controller. That's how good they are. I've got one that I've been using for literally like over a decade. Mm-hmm. Probably closer to 20 years now. And they want to bang you out of $80 for a controller.
So like, yeah, if you got it from Sony, it would be $400, but you have to wait for a restock.
Sony is never going to restock it. They don't. They're sending all of their orders out to these retailers that are marking it up. There's no $950 just for the console and one controller. That's not your. That doesn't come with like 6 months of PSN Plus. That doesn't come with a couple of games or an extra controller.
Yeah. You're just not fucking. Yeah, it's already over a year old, and they still haven't gotten to the point where they can like just have it on the shelves.
Yeah. And if they did scalper, yeah, that's the thing, is if Sony ever did restock that website and put up, 10,000 of them for $400, they'd be gone that day.
Mm-hmm.
And being resold on eBay for $900.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not, dude, I won't do it. I refuse. And it just goes to show you, like, all these things that are normal people, like normal things, like having an apartment. People are starting to get priced out of normal things. Like, you can't even afford now to jump into your distractions. Shit's getting bad, man.
Like, at some point, it's just like they just expect everyone to have like 3 roommates in a 1-bedroom or some shit.
I guess, and everybody's going in on the console. Like, you 3-way own a console with you and your 2 roommates or something. Everybody kind of pitches in. Try being an anything collector nowadays. Like, I'm looking at getting into Warhammer, and like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I follow a bunch of Warhammer channels. Every one of them was talking about the giant price hike for Warhammer. And so I'm a dude that is right on the cusp of maybe getting into a hobby that just got like a 40% price hike. Made me not want to do it. I was just like, what? So you're telling me that this is worth half again as much as it was last year? Fuck that. Yeah, everything's starting to get...
Pack of Coke is like $10 now.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. The car is accelerating towards the cliff. I agree. If you take into account inflation and the cost of living, there has been a close to 50% decrease in wages since 1960. So people are, on the average, getting paid half again less than they were getting paid in 1960 for the same work. How much farther can they push it? How much farther can they expect to push it before it's untenable?
Like in that State of the Union, fucking Biden having the gall to say no one was left behind, the American Rescue Plan.
Yeah. It's just bullshit. Fuck it. They got no answers for you.
It's like, well, this is just what everything costs now.
And think about where that trend points. That trend points to you getting paid nothing or subsistence wages. Company towns. You work for room and board. You don't think those days are around the corner? When in less than 100 years, you've seen a 50% wage decrease in the United States?
The economy literally doesn't function if people don't have discretionary income.
Yep. And what we're talking about here today is just one example of how people would use their discretionary income on something, conspicuous consumption or whatever the fuck you could call it, but on something that they spend their time doing, on a hobby. They work, they make enough money to pay for the roof over their head, and they got a little extra jing in their pocket. They can afford to save up for a couple of months and go get a PS4. Dude, I know that because I lived that my whole life. I was never able to afford to go right out on release day and buy one of these new consoles. I always had to wait a year. Sock away 20 bucks a paycheck until I got enough money to go get that and a couple of games, and I go get one. You trying to bait me out of $1,000 for a PlayStation? Not this one. Not this guy. No. No.
Don't worry, Biden's gonna materialize more chips.
We gotta make more chips here, Jack. All right, we're gonna. Chocolate bar I bought today had a 5-gram decrease in size plus cost, extra 50 cents compared to the one I bought 2 weeks ago. Man, they're just trimming them. They got like a little nail file and they're filing down the chocolate bars now to make another one. Yeah, it's getting bad out there, y'all. There are hard times on the horizon. Hey. I wish it weren't so, but it's looking like that is the case.
Don't worry, dude. Stock market's up.
Stock market's up, yeah. I actually think the stock market's down, isn't it?
Not overall.
Well, not overall, but I think it's been down the last couple of weeks since this Ukraine shit.
Yeah, let's see.
On the horizon, hard times are here. Yeah, not real hard times, though.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you know about some hard times, Phoebes. You've lived homeless.
It's going
Most of these
down.
people in here don't know about hard times. And it's about to come to their living rooms, too. That's what I'm talking about.
10% down
Yeah.
for the last year.
Ruh-roh. The fantasy is starting to come to an end. How are these stocks going to keep going up if people can't afford to buy the products that these stocks are supporting?
Mm-hmm.
Housing being a tool of speculation and not a utility for housing families. It's no longer a house. It's a big money bag that you hope you can turn into a bigger money bag. And it's not just you, it's every corporation in America is doing it. It's ridiculous. And look at what it's caused. It's caused people to be fucking priced out of the housing market because the premium has gone up so high. And it's been so falsely inflated.
Like, it should be illegal to get a mortgage for a house unless you plan to live on it.
That's the type of thing it would take. It would take some kind of sweeping law to normalize these prices, where it's like you can only own 2 properties. That's it.
And you can't just buy a second one just to rent it out immediately.
Yeah.
You gotta live in it like a year. Or
No
something.
corporate subsidiary properties or anything. You buy a house. If it's zoned for a domicile, you have to live in it. That's it. And that's never going to happen. There's too much money wrapped up in renting. Too much money wrapped up in getting people to sign exploitative mortgages. And those are the people that get boned. Like when the bottom falls out of this housing market, when people are literally so priced out of it that you can't sell a house anymore. What's going to happen to all the people that jumped on the speculation train? Average folks too, teachers and, fucking factory workers and stuff, people that bought a speculation property for $150,000 and now it's worth $20,000. What are they going to do? You've got a mortgage and you're paying a mortgage on a property that may never be worth that again.
Yeah, like these landlords are gonna get fucked too because they all rent out houses that they've only made one mortgage payment on.
Right. People that own properties like this are going to take a bath. Because this house, I'm going to let you know right now, this house that I'm living in, obscene overpriced.
And not paid off. Guaranteed not paid
Not
off.
guaranteed not paid off, but obscenely over the top overpriced. This is a shitbox. This is not a great house. This is a house that was designed at a time where they were putting up these little McMansions in every neighborhood. You can see how close I am to my neighbors here. It's ridiculous. This house is going to be worth dirt when the bottom falls out. Dirt. And whoever owns this is going to take a bath. A big, long one.
That's what we're waiting for. Oh.
It sucks. It feels predatory, but it's true. When you know the cycle, you know that it's better to just fucking limp along, rent for a few years, and wait for the market to just explode. And then swoop in, get a house at a low price. See, the problem is that the problem has gotten to the point where even if that does happen, it's going to be a frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
Like these properties are going to fucking disappear as soon as they hit the market, because everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's in this crouch position. And when it happens, you're going to be lucky to get a house. It's going to be fucked.
Or people just won't be willing to sell because they couldn't possibly recoup their money.
Yep. Home ownership is only a money pit if you mess up and purchase a house that you don't plan to live in your whole life, or at least like a huge percentage of your life. If you're not looking down the road going like, here's where I'm going to settle, then yeah, buying a house is just stupid. But if you're buying a house to settle in, it's not a money pit.
Yeah. Because even if you're underwater on the thing, it doesn't really matter.
As if you can afford to pay it, you're directly contributing to your ownership of something. You can build up, you can change, you can decide the fate of. That's worth it if you're settling. But if you think you're going to be bouncing around, there ain't no reason to sign a mortgage. Yeah, renting is a money hole. Everything, it's all a money hole. Trust me. It's all meant to be a drain on your personal finance. Take as much of your discretionary income as it can afford to take, and leave you desperate. Yay! Moving sucks. I own my house and I'm staying here for a while. Good. You're lucky. I don't need material stuff to be happy or content. All right, bud. Throw your phone in the garbage. Stop paying your rent and go live on the street for 5 minutes and tell me how much you don't like material stuff. Tell me how much your happiness doesn't hinge on having a roof over your head.
And things to do besides work.
Yep. See, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the types of times that are coming to millions and millions of people in this country. And it's almost like people pretend they don't see the trajectory. Like you guys that watch me, you loyal few, you've heard me ringing the alarm bells for years and years and years about the trajectory of this. Years and years, and then years more. Constant.
Like anyone that's lived through 2008 should know, like,
I've lived through multiples of these. I lived through the 80s. I watched my parents go from people that could afford to have a big giant house that they designed out in the country on 9 acres of beautiful land, rolling hills, as factory workers, to people that were struggling, moving back in with their parents. Like I lived through the 80s and the early 90s. I lived through 2008. I watched the bottom fall out of it all. This is going to be worse. It always is. The severity of these economic corrections, these little hiccups, it gets worse every time. Yes. Do I need material things to be happy to a certain extent? Yeah. I need a home. Yeah. Need things to do. If I didn't have material things, I wouldn't be able to do my job. Wouldn't have access to the things I need to do my job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like jobs where we ask you what your hobbies are and like won't hire you if you don't have hobbies.
Yep. I can't afford to have a fucking hobby. Put that on your app. I'm looking for a job so I can afford something like a hobby. Right now, my hobby is feeding myself every day. Making sure I don't have to sleep in a cardboard box somewhere. Never mind, you don't get what I'm asking. All right. Sorry. I mean, I don't get it. It just material things to be happy. And it's like, yeah, you kind of do, but whatever. I get what you're saying. No, I don't need like tchotchkes and paintings and expensive stuff and a million different video games and a billion different tech gadgets and 100 billion different things to be happy. I don't use that stuff. I don't have a bunch of that stuff. I don't collect that stuff. So no. If you're talking about utterly discretionary materialism, I don't really need much of anything that I can think of when it comes to that. Uh-oh.
Starting.
It's picking up. It's a very light dusting, but it's picking up. Hear it? We'll see. We'll see if it blows over. There's a storm on the horizon. You can even hear the crows. They're like, uh-oh, it's happening, guys. What music will you listen to in the apocalypse? Dude, old 50s and music and shit. It's perfect. Throw on the New Vegas soundtrack, man. Morning doves. Sounds like somebody's fumbling with the bubble wrap. Yeah, it's starting to this light sprinkle is becoming a drizzle. And if it goes any further than this show is over. This show is finished. We'll see. See what happens. I don't think it's gonna stop. But maybe it will. Yeah, it was fun to just kind of chill and Eve. But it really highlights how bad I am at like ignoring a video game that I'm playing and just kind of like having a conversation. We ended up talking about Eve most of the night, which not many people are interested in sitting and listening to 2 hours of that. But whatever, it was chill for me. It was a nice relaxing thing for me, and I got to test the new OBS release, make sure it was stable. The rain was pretty nice to listen to until somebody fired up their fucking leaf blower in the middle of a rainstorm. Let's blow some leaves around before it rains, y'all. Can you believe it? And how did us bunch of monkeys ever jump out of the fucking jungle, dude? Can somebody tell me? It seems like our ancestors would have tripped and smashed their fucking faces on a rock or something. Bumbling idiots that they must have been. Because if we're the latest, greatest version, and we're out here blowing leaves around right before a rainstorm, what were our fucking ancestors doing before they developed that level of incompetence? You know what I mean? I can't imagine that they were engaged in a whole lot of really great self-preservation, you know? Hey, it's about to rain. I should go fire up the leaf blower. Oh man. Oh man. Uh-oh, what did I do? Did I break it? I was just wiping juice off of it. All right. Let's see if I can fix it. There we go. Okay. I'm blinded. Anyway, the drizzle has stopped, but I can tell it's about to start right back up again. We are rained out. Calling this on account of rain.